Welcome to Off With Their Headlines. I am Meredith Constant, joined by Amanda Matta.
Hello.
Hello.
We are professionals.
We are. I don't know why my brain just completely collapsed, but
stopped.
Mercury's in retrograde, and it just keeps showing up over and over again. Like the issues with my Croatia trip that I announced. We both announced trips last week.
No, there are not issues with your trip. There are issues with the platform
Broader technology
that it lives on. It's not a you problem. We just talked about this, Meredith.
That's fair. And I already forgot. That's a long way of saying that if you are interested potentially in my Croatia trip, just reach out to me and I can get you details once it's up. And also, Amanda just launched her trip to London. It's finally happening, and that's going to be in October of 2026. So we have links in the bio. Thrilled. Reach out to us. We'll make it happen. I am trying to make that trip happen, by the way.
Can I tell you something so funny, Meredith?
Yes.
We have 4 people signed up already, which is amazing. That happened during pre-sale. I know.
Oh my gosh, I'm so nervous that I'm not.
You'll be fine.
You have to let me know if we're whittling down. It's like time to book.
If we're whittling down and you're still like, I don't know, you'll just be my +1 and we'll share a bed. It's fine.
Girl, I'm honored.
But the company Best in Travel that I'm working with, they asked me to kind of guesstimate like how many people would be okay sharing a room because we partner people up if they come as singles and don't mind sharing. They also wanted to know how many people roughly would prefer a single room. And I was like, I don't know, maybe like 3 or 4, because on past trips, everyone's been okay sharing. So far, everybody has a single room because they love their privacy, I've learned.
Yeah. At a certain age, you do.
My ballpark was off.
I would share a room with you. Obviously.
Yeah, it would be so fun. It would be so fun.
It would be fun. And okay, well, that's great. Also, wow, that was a great transition.
That's the big splashy news this week.
That's the big splashy news. And also, you can find our episodes if you want to see these episodes over on Patreon. You get them early, ad-free, bonus episodes. We just did a very fun one about royalty news magazine or whatever it was called from the 90s.
Royalty.
What a time.
Magazine. Yeah, that's going up. That's going up very soon. You're reminding me to actually post it now. Thank you.
Listen, I do what I can. And also, if you missed it, we are now doing Friday episodes. We are calling them their Friday news dump, and they are quick and quippy. And so far, according to Amanda, you guys are liking them.
Yeah, I got some messages. I saw some comments on the Patreon. So thank you for the positive feedback. And speaking of positive feedback, do we have the opportunity of a lifetime for you?
What a great transition.
I'm working on it, okay? So Meredith and I are very excited to be celebrating the 1-year anniversary of our podcast, our baby's first birthday.
It's my longest relationship of the year.
Stop. But also, yay.
Yay. Yay.
Okay, getting back on track. So to celebrate, we want to do a giveaway for you, and we're including some of our favorite royal favorites from the year. So it includes some Clever Blend teas, some of Meghan's products, including the flower sprinkles and the fruit spread. Somebody out there is going to get the fruit spread before Meredith did. No, I'm just kidding. You ended up getting the raspberry spread.
One day. Yeah, I did.
We're also including an early copy of The Heir Apparent by Rebecca Armitage, which we talked about in an earlier episode. That is out December 2nd, but if you want a free one and a paperback and not a hardcover, it'll be in the giveaway.
Have you started Rebecca's book yet?
I haven't yet.
It is so good.
Yeah.
It is the plot twist, and I'm not going to give anything away. It is so good. That's all I can say.
Is it like a cozy read? Is it like tickling your brain cells the whole time? What's the vibe?
It definitely tickles a little bit. It's one of those that you're just like, I shouldn't start this book at 10:30 at night, but you do anyway. And then you look up and it's 11:30. It's one of those.
Got it. Well, if you would like to enter to win that fabulous collection of royal favorites, here are the criteria. You need to submit a 5-star written review for Off With Their Headlines on Apple Reviews. So you can go online or download the app. Even if you don't listen normally, just do it for the review. Screenshot the review you post and send it to us in an email at offwiththeirheadlines@gmail.com. And that will get you an entry into the giveaway. If you could include a 2025 giveaway in the subject line, that would be amazing. You have until Monday, December 15th to enter, and we will choose the winner and notify them at the end of the day or the next day so that we can get your goodies out before Christmas.
Woohoo! A little present from us.
Yeah. We're going to open this to US and Canada residents just because that's fine and we can mail it to you. Like, no big deal.
Unlike As Ever, we can ship to Canada.
Ooh,
I'm just
burn.
kidding. I'm just kidding, guys.
Burn. And we will remind you at the top of episodes coming up, but you do have until December 15th to get those reviews in and sent to us and enter the giveaway. So good luck.
Yep. I mean, it's a great assortment of gifts. So I am very excited
I'm
for
excited for
everyone out
doing
there.
it. Yeah. All right. Should we get into the real treat today, Meredith? A good
Yes.
old fashioned burying the lead.
This one was sent to us by a listener who said, "Did you see that article about Zara maybe moving to Australia?" And I said, "No, I did not, but I would very much like to see it."
Perfect. Give it to me. I haven't seen it yet.
It's a great headline. So this is from The Mirror. King Charles's emotional plea to Zara and Mike Tyndall over controversial decision. Subhead. Mike Tyndall and wife Zara were reportedly eyeing up a major life decision that even caught the eye of King Charles III, who later interjected. Are you
What?
ready?
I guess.
This
Yeah, I
is all
guess.
real. I know. You're like, maybe. So, this hard hitting, factual, steady foundation of this article starts off with King Charles III is believed to have urged Zara and Mike Tyndall not to abandon the UK for a new life in Australia.
Okay. Believed doing some heavy list.
Yep. Yep. In October 2024, a source suggested, making something out of nothing, that Mike and Zara would look to divide their time between Australia and the UK rather than relocating permanently. Well, doesn't that sound like a little half in, half out solution, despite the fact that I know they're not working royals, but they do at times work on behalf of the royal family? It goes on to say news of their choice was apparently, greeted with extreme joy by the king, who appears anxious about maintaining family unity, particularly given the ongoing situation with Prince Harry and Meghan Markle.
Wait,
Yes.
what?
Yes.
What? But I thought he didn't want them to.
I think what it means is that he was excited that they might spend some holidays over there, some winter holidays.
Like not permanently.
But not a
move.
permanent move, which
Okay.
I would like to remind the class, that's what Harry and Meghan wanted. To some extent. I don't know if they would have come back to the UK very often, but they still wanted to, whatever. So then, this is great. It's a source via The Express, so another tabloid. When the idea was discussed seriously during a sit down, it drew blank faces and teary eyes from several members of the family. It became instantly clear that it wasn't a move that could ever become permanent. Longer periods of time will be spent in Australia instead.
Okay.
Interesting. So we didn't have a Sandringham Summit sit down. We weren't given two options. Now, obviously, Zara and Mike are in a different situation. Why this article now? Why is this coming out now? And what does it say? Because we have had the new Fab 17.0 has been suggested that it is Catherine, Princess of Wales. Sorry.
Issue an apology right now.
William, Zara, and Mike. So are they feeling like, maybe all this royal engagement stuff is not what it's cracked up to be, especially when we're not getting paid, Or is this just something that was put out there because there's nothing else going on? Or is it a way to show that Charles is a family man and he really cares about the wider family?
That was my initial thought. It's a good way to make it seem like Harry's the bad guy, right? Like, oh, well, Charles wants his people close to him. It just kind of sneak that thought in the back door. But then when I just clicked on the link, did you see who this was written by? You won't know the name. It's Chris Burns, senior sports writer. This is in the sports section.
That was my favorite part.
This is in specifically the football section. You can join their WhatsApp community to receive your daily dose of Mirror football content if you would like.
But Mike played rugby, right?
Yes. Yeah, it's in the rugby union subsection of the sport section of the Mirror. So that to me, unless the palace is getting real creative with like kind of nudging reporters to report this stuff, I don't know, maybe it is just like somebody got a scoop and wanted to write about it and this got greenlit
like royals
by
are
the
popular.
Editor. I don't know.
Like people like royal talk. We can work in King Charles. It gets more SEO. Maybe some people that love royal content and football conversation will join the WhatsApp.
I think it wouldn't be hard to like see that there is an appetite for stories about the royal family in private, which we will get to in a second. There's another one this week that I want to talk about and I'm so excited to talk about. But yeah, I don't know if this is necessarily engineered. Does that make sense?
That does make sense. It's probably just happenstance that there was this idea for, okay, how do we get more tabloid readers into the sports section? I don't know what the business model is at the Mirror, but I could see how this is seen as a win. We work in some rugby stuff. We work in King Charles. That's good for SEO. We can get Meghan Markle's name in there, Prince Harry. That's also good for SEO. So let's let her rip.
Absolutely.
In early November, Prince William was in Brazil for Earthshot, and we were fortunate enough to have a reporter who was actually a part of the Rota and the press pack from Brazil reach out to us to discuss what's it like following around the future king as a local royal reporter in Brazil. Today, we are joined by Luisa Stefanato, a news reporter for Woe in Brazil, who happened to be on the recent Prince William engagement to Brazil for both Earthshot and other royal engagements. She was boots on the ground, and we wanted to talk to her to get the perspective of what it's like to be a reporter, part of the local press pack, when a royal comes to town. So, Luisa, right off the bat, what is it like being in the press pack with a future king?
It was exciting. As someone who really enjoys covering the royal family, I was super eager to know how is it to be a royal reporter for a few days. It was really cool. It was a little bit hectic, tiring because there were a lot of events, but it was super, super exciting.
That does sound both exhausting and like it would be a little thrilling because you're part of this exclusive club. So you said you like covering the royal family. Have you covered them in the past, whether from afar or in person before?
I did cover the royal family from afar for the last few years. I was basically chosen as the royal correspondent where I work because I've been very interested, in reading books about the royal family, watching TV shows about the royal family. So I learned a lot, especially since Queen Elizabeth died. And so every time there are big news on the royal family, I'm the one covering it. I did interview some royal biographers over the last few years. And the last time a royal family member has been to Brazil was like 10, 12 years ago.
Wow.
I was quite younger. So it was Prince Harry at the time. He was still a member of the royal family. Actually, Prince William's visit was my first chance to cover a royal family member's visit to Brazil.
That's incredible. And I can just imagine, just again, how hectic it is because there's not only local reporters, but you have the UK Royal Rota representatives that are on the trip as well. Did you notice any differences between local reporting on William's trip and the way the UK reporters were covering William?
Yes, so there were a lot of British reporters and a lot of Brazilian reporters as well. And one thing that I noticed is because the British press is more specialized in royal reporting, small things that Prince William would do would become headlines more than here in Brazil. I feel like we aimed towards more of a general reporting of what he was doing, while in People website or Daily Mail, they would tend to compartmentalize more what happened in these engagements.
Do you have an example of when they picked up something that William did that wasn't this big moment, but it became a headline?
Yeah, so Prince William, he grabbed the baby in Paquetá.
He grabbed a baby.
Just grab that
How
baby.
can I say
love
this?
it. No, that's
No, I
think
like
pretty
it. He picked
accurate.
up a baby. We knew what you
He
meant.
picked up a baby. Yes.
Princes love to go out and kiss babies. Yeah,
Grab
that's
those babies.
So yes, Prince William picked up a baby in Paquetá, and this was its own news in
Mm.
other websites. But when I did it, I put it inside. How was Prince William's second day in Brazil? I feel like Brazilian news were more in line with this. Going through each day and not really separating the stories. If you get what I mean.
Definitely. And that's the type of reporting I always really appreciate as a commentator. I don't know about you, Meredith.
I agree. And I think it also speaks to, Louisa, you can chime in about the output that's expected. Like some of these UK outlets are expected to churn out 15 stories based on one day. So after a while, you got to find something else. You got to talk about that baby or that tear in his eye or whatever, where it seems like the reporting that I've read from you is much more here's what happened, not necessarily my commentary or opinions on it, although you will give your perspective, but it's very clear when that's happening. It's not as emotional as sometimes UK reporting is.
The only time that I did separate, two engagements from the same day was Christ the Redeemer and Earthshot Prize, because I feel like that would be too much for only one
Sure.
piece of news. And because it was really a quite important moment where he recreated Princess Diana's picture in the balcony of Christ the Redeemer. But yeah, I think the way we said it, there are these dedicated sections in the Daily Mail where in the people's website. So I believe there is expected more of a bigger output rather than I am an entertainment reporter, but we do cover, everything about the royal family. So I guess it was more useful to do it that way rather than, slice it up and do.
Yeah, it's different priorities, really, as well. If you're covering not just the royals, there are other things you're covering too. It allows you to branch out a bit.
So, did you identify while you were kind of in with the press pack, were there any challenges you had to kind of overcome, or was the experience pretty smooth for you?
I feel like the experience was smooth. I mean, the call times were pretty early, I would say. We had to arrive like 5:30 a.m. for the Christ the
Wow.
Redeemer visit, and Prince William arrived like 8:30 a.m. So it was lots of waiting. For Paquetá, we had to arrive 6 a.m. and he arrived in Paquetá 10:50 a.m. So lots of
Are
waiting,
they
lots of
checking you
sun.
in? Sorry, are they
What do
like
you mean?
checking you in or what are you doing during that time?
Just waiting around, really, because we already had the credentials. I guess it was more of kind of organization thing. I don't know.
So
We just had
everyone's
to
in
wait.
place. That's so
Yes, yes.
interesting. If anyone's going to be late, it will be the royal, not the reporters, not the hosts. Everyone's there way early.
Yeah, I feel like we had to get there earlier just to make sure everyone was there when he arrived and everyone was on the fixed points. I can expand on that too if you would like. The two types of places we could be while
Please.
reporting. There were two groups of reporters. One would be in a fixed point, which is a delimited space, and the other one, they called it the rota. So it was 5 British outlets and 5 local outlets that was able to follow the prince around but not move freely through the space. So these outlets would alternate between each engagement. I got a place in the rota for the Christ the Redeemer visit. And then I was able to get closer to him a little bit more and not be, stuck to the fixed point.
Actually, that's kind of similar to what happens in the UK when a royal has a visit. One person goes out and is in a fixed point, but they do have a little more movement and they usually use that time to also get quotes from, a senior advisor or, the press secretary, or it's a good time for schmoozing and getting some extra quotes for the piece that you're going to send into everyone else with the info or for, a future book, you're going to save that tidbit. And then there's the point where anyone else is free to come as a reporter, but this is kind of your pen and where you're staying. But it's good to hear that they do rotate the rota when you're overseas and include, quite rightly, local reporters.
Yeah, I did know who were the people who worked for the Kensington Palace. They had
Uh,
this like this brooch with a W, I guess it's wheels, but I didn't really interact with them because we were with the embassy people as well. So they did orient us on how we should move around when the prince arrived. We were not supposed to call for him or to interact with him if we were on the rota or on the fixed point. We shouldn't, be calling for which was expected.
right. That makes sense. I've seen
It
that from
does.
other engagements as well. And sometimes somebody will get brave and yell a question if there's really hot news. I think the last point that this happened was when Kate was quote unquote missing and the king had announced his health diagnosis. I think somebody got brave and yelled a question, but I imagine they were whisked away to the tower shortly after.
That's what I thought was gonna happen to me. Like I was gonna be thrown from the
You
mountain.
step over the line and you're gone.
And it makes sense because number one, they don't want William potentially distracted or have him caught on camera in a moment looking surprised or angry, and that becomes the story. But also because I'm assuming that there were some outlets that did get exclusive, and there was an exclusive interview somewhere with whomever, and that, that's who's going to get the scoop, the closest, scoop on the trip.
I understand that he did talk privately to the British reporters while on the trip, but no interviews for Brazilian outlets, which was expected as well. But he did give an interview for Luciano Huck, who presented the Earthshot Prize. I don't know if you caught that, but I was also really surprised with how Luciano was able to ask some personal questions about Kate's health.
In terms of the palace and the comms team, did they give you any talking points, background information to use for your story? Was there any sort of embargoed press release that they gave you ahead of each engagement to help you out?
Before he arrived, we did get like sheet with his engagements, and then with each day there would be a more detailed sheet with who he was gonna meet and who he was going to talk to and what he was gonna do. And the engagements were also very well choreographed, I must say, because we were told in advance how he would move through the space. Like he's gonna get through here and he's gonna go there and he's gonna talk to this person. So that allowed us to prepare as well, yeah, accordingly to what he was gonna do.
It's almost like stage directions. William enters stage left, hand in pocket, meets this person downstage. You know what I mean?
Yeah, kind of. All
Yeah.
stand. Yeah. I imagine that would be helpful too, so that you're not kind of nervous or second guessing yourself. You do kind of know what's expected as you go through this. I mean, yes, it's your job, but it's also a very exceptional circumstance actually being there with a royal.
Yes. I'm not used to this kind of reporting. As I said, I'm an entertainment reporter. So I'm used to covering, movie releases, music festivals, and in these places, the people that you're going to see, the artists, they're there to talk to the press. They're there to interact with the press, to do interviews. And when you're covering something like this, basically no interaction with the press. You're there to observe. So yes, knowing these things in advance is helpful because you know where to look, because you're not going to get much more other than that. Staying in the fixed point could be a little limiting because, you were stuck to that space. And when I was in Paquetá, which is where he greeted the most people when he was there, a local person filmed him going to the public restroom in the ferry station, from the outside, which is sort of amusing if you're a Brazilian person. Like, look, the prince is using the public restroom. But as I was stuck to the fixed point, I didn't see it at the time. But then it made the rounds on social media, like, look, the prince is using a public restroom.
It's amazing.
As much as things are choreographed, it almost seems like there is a bit of luck involved too in getting the good tidbits from these engagements.
Nature calls.
Then he got on a small boat and took off to the mangroves where he planted some things. I don't know, because in this specific engagement, only the people of the rota for this engagement were allowed to go. So I basically just stayed on the island where he visited first. But yeah, I think that was a good time to go to the restroom. Was Annie
Wise.
before getting on the boat?
Yeah, definitely.
Because going off the boat is not a good look.
No, I don't think so.
No Todgers off the boat.
Yes.
Sorry.
I get the reference.
Yes.
Yes.
Amanda's dying. Sorry, Amanda.
I thought we were done talking about Todgers.
Never.
Never. I think there's a video of this. I can find it. And he says something like, "Oop, you're too close," like some sort of joke.
Play it off.
Yes. But other than that, it was like, as expected, we were just observing what he was doing.
Fascinating.
This is delightful. I mean, I love this. I love just hearing all these details.
We're nosy.
it's very hard to hear what he says to other people, even when you're in the rota. I mean, you gotta have like a good microphone or be very good of hearing, because I heard from other colleagues as well that they barely could make out what he was saying to
When
people
he was talking to them or when he was talking to someone else and they were nearby?
when he was talking to someone else. Like, we had to stay a little bit back while he was talking to the finalists, and I was trying to make out what he was saying, and I just couldn't. I was like, he speaks in a very low voice. In the Earthshot Prize as well, I was in the green carpet when he met Seu Jorge and Anitta, which are Brazilian artists. And he was like a few feet away from me, and I was trying to make out what he was saying, and I just couldn't. I was like, what?
So it's actually harder to pick up on a royal quote than people think.
Yeah, I wonder if that's done on purpose to kind of keep some things like private in the moment versus getting everything you say in a news article. I don't know.
I think so. I think so.
Listen, you are an entertainment reporter, and now you are officially a royal engagement reporter. And we will have to speak to you again in the future, especially if we get some more royals down in Brazil, and you'll be boots on the ground, and we can get your reporting.
Would you do it again? Would you cover another royal engagement, Louisa?
Of course. It was fun. It was fun to watch him, playing volleyball at the beach. He took his shoes off. He gave his all in the court. It was quite beautiful to see him recreating Princess Diana's photograph, as I said, because he also got very nice days in Rio, very sunny days with the clear skies. So it was really nice. It was really nice to see up close how, this royal machine works behind the scenes. It was super fun. I would do it again, definitely.
It's incredible. Thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate it, and we will have to have you on in the future.
Thank you for having me. Oh, thank
All right.
you.
Bye.
Bye.
Yep. That was delightful. Thank you again, Luisa Stefanato. There are so many things I can't stop thinking about in terms of this conversation. The big one, though, is that they are really there to observe.
Mm-hmm.
That
you are
this is
background
almost
noise.
Yeah, and they are almost the audience to the play, if we're going to continue with the metaphor. And you're not really supposed to be interacting. You are just supposed to be observing and reporting on what exactly happened. And I find it interesting, and it makes sense, but also the lack of any sort of challenge that Prince William could potentially face over questions around Earthshot or sustainability or private jets or whatever. You know what I mean?
Well, and think about, this is how we got his quote that we're very much not a racist family, was from someone yelling out at a different engagement, what do you make of these accusations that you're a racist family, blah, blah, blah. And they've never been able to get past that. That quote is still getting pasted into articles today, which is why you don't, as a royal, go off book. So it makes a lot of sense that this controlled access is what the palace goes with for engagements like this. But I never want to hear anyone ever again claim, the royal family is so hard done by in the media. They have no control. No, they do. They do.
From this situation, there was total control, because I am sure if you stepped out of line or if someone didn't like coverage that they've seen of you, you're not there. You do not have the access that you need to actually report on this. It's very much controlled by the palace. I also was thinking about how you really can't hear what they're saying when they're talking to people, which I think makes sense. They want to, keep it private or as much as possible. And they're not really performing for the cameras, I guess, in that way. But it does make me think of how some people do get quotes. And it's got to be, you go over to the deputy comm secretary and you're like, hey, what were they talking about? Or can you give me just a quote about if William was excited to meet this person or whatever? You got to get it some way.
And that would behoove the palace to kind of entertain those requests, because otherwise we got to bring in the lip readers, and nobody wants that.
And the body language experts.
Yeah. Yeah, that was so interesting. I love hearing from reporters on the ground. So if you have ever covered a royal visit on the ground, let us know. Specifically outside of the UK, I think we're interested in, right?
Especially outside of the UK, because it does give a very different perspective. And we have heard this from people who have been on the ground for William and Kate's Jamaica trip or Australia early on when George was very young. So it does seem like we have learned some lessons for engagements and are perhaps doing them a little differently.
Or even just kind of structuring the rota a little differently. I remember there were reports of unequal treatment between local and UK reporters in certain environments. So it'll be interesting to see if that changes over time, especially with a potential King William. Does he evolve this model, as we've been told he will at some point, because it's about impact, right? Right, William?
It's impact, but only the kind of impact we want to, interact with. And it's like vetted and it's very, even the people
Selective
that he's meeting
impact.
with, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
We're making sure that we hear what we want to hear.
Definitely.
I found it all super, super interesting. That was so fantastic. We will have links in the show notes to some of Luisa's writing, also her Instagram handle. So go check her out.
And I did look at that interview she mentioned between William and Brazilian journalist Luciano Huck. This is where the tidbit came from last week or the week before that Prince George doesn't have a phone yet, that Will and Kate are like kind of debating when is the best time to give them phones and access to the internet. So that just goes to show again, like, I didn't really pick up that it was a Brazilian journalist that did that interview, but I did see the story that came out of it because we zeroed in on one little micro point.
And also what journalists in other countries maybe feel comfortable asking about, where people in the rota in particular don't, because there are these connections that we need to maintain. And when your entire job is rota, you're like Kendall, like my job is beach. You got to really protect those connections. So really great conversation.
One more interesting piece of reporting out last week that we wanted to put on your radar came out of The Times. A British actress who married into the family, Sophie Winkleman, aka Lady Freddie Windsor, was on record talking about the royals, which I find is so interesting. And specifically, the question becomes, who is allowed to say this stuff? Because some of Sophie's comments from somebody else might have been met with more derision. And see if you agree with me. She said that the more I get to know the royal family, the more I get that their lives are total hell. And that level of unasked for fame is a form of torture. Whoa. That's heavy stuff, right? She kind of elaborated. None of them went on Pop Idol, which is like American Idol, or something to be famous. To have that sort of blinding spotlight in your face from when you're born, not knowing quite whom you can trust, not knowing if someone's going to betray you, people writing lies about you the whole time. I'm side-eyeing for our audio listeners. Is just brutal. She said, I feel for them all. I don't think a life with that much scrutiny and pressure is remotely healthy, but they have no choice.
We saved it at the end, but we should still have a monarchy, let's be clear. Don't get rid of the system. You don't want to go too far in suggesting that the institution that your husband and his parents, your in-laws, were born into, which is he's the son of Prince Michael of Kent, is in any way bad or should go away. Now, I have a quick question. I have two questions, actually.
Yes, ma'am.
Number one, Prince Michael of Kent and the other one, right? The Blackamoor brooch one.
Yeah.
Yeah. They are not working royals, right? Or
no,
are they?
I do think they used to be.
Okay, but they kind of put her out to pasture.
They did.
And
a hell of a way to frame it.
Am I correct in saying that this is Princess Pushy, Princess Michael of Kent,
the
and
original
Frederick Windsor was the drug-taking boy from the 1999 royalty magazine that we flipped through for Patreon?
Yep.
Wow,
that's
he's
the one.
Come a long way from finance.
Going back to Prince Michael, I don't believe he was technically a working royal. He did do some events and engagements on behalf of the family, but he never got money for it, like an allowance. He did get an apartment at Kensington Palace when he married Princess Michael of Kent and had a lot of patronages. He retired from public life in June 2022 when he was 80. And he is another one that had a lot of business ties abroad. I think it was Russia, which is ironic because he's the one that looks a lot like George V, who in turn looked a lot like Tsar Nicholas II of Russia. So he really honed in on that family connection.
Well, weren't they cousins?
Yeah, they were.
Yeah.
So I guess he would be like fourth cousins of the Romanovs, if kind of we're thinking about the degree. I don't know, something like that.
Keep it in the family.
He went to the reburial of Nicholas and Alexandra when they found their bones in the 90s. Tangent on Prince Michael.
Yeah.
Anyway, so his daughter-in-law, Sophie, she went on to kind of give a little bit more insight into her royal, like her her introduction to the royal fold, which I would get why you think this is hell. She said that Princess Michael of Kent chose her wedding dress. She called it very sweet and puffy, but I looked barking, like barking mad. I thought it was pretty.
Wow.
I don't know.
Are they talking to the in-laws anymore?
Ooh, I don't know. They must, right? They must be, because at the end of the piece, she does say, family isn't always brilliant, but this lot are very sweet. I love all of them, like a little course correction. I also found it interesting, though, she mentioned that at her wedding, which, remember, was to a son of a cousin of the queen, she didn't know anyone. She said, I had my best pals there, but basically it was full of these faces I'd never seen before. And like, to be at that degree of separation from the nucleus of the royal family, you're not representing the institution. You just kind of show up for the celebrations and not know anybody, have it be treated as a networking event. Like, still a little crazy to me to think about that. But she talked a little bit more about her kind of career. She's an actress and how that brushed up against royal life. And specifically with her wedding, she said she and Lord Frederick moved to Los Angeles the day after their wedding because she was starting a job. So she handed all of the planning off to Princess Michael of Kent. I don't know why this is the thing she like seized onto. She said that meant my hair was so disgusting and Freddie still gets upset about it. It was just disgusting.
Why is Freddie upset by it?
Her hair being disgusting? I don't know. Again, if you look at the pictures, it looks fine. But she says, I look back on it and I think I should have worn a simpler dress and I should have got my hair blow dried by someone who had done it before.
Damn.
So,
okay,
yeah.
If this had been Meghan,
there it is.
Ungrateful Meghan.
There it is.
Complains about the beautiful dress her future grandmother-in-law picked out for her or
right,
whatever.
Exactly.
Disgusting is what Mimi Meghan used to describe her hair the day after her wedding or whatever.
But it was Kate's favorite dressmaker. Was this a snub?
Yeah. Did Meghan issue a subtle swipe at Kate because they once have, it's suggested, use the same blow dryer person? And that's the job, blow dryer person. You could, and so here's like kind of my larger question here. What is she basing her analysis of the royal family off of? Because
the more I get to know the royal family, yeah.
How well are you getting to know them exactly? Like, when are you around and getting to know the fam? Or are you just basing this on the coverage that you're seeing? Or is some of this based on what you know your husband went through with the media and his so-called bad influence on
and you're like,
William?
And you're thinking, well, if it could happen to my husband, who again is the son of a cousin of the monarch, then think how bad it would be for those people. Yeah. Or is it, are they talking about this openly? Are they acknowledging it behind closed doors and you're just kind of relaying the message?
But also, unless this is okayed, the royal family would be pissed about this. This does not get you an invitation to Sandringham.
I think they would be pissed because when I say like, thinking about who is allowed to say stuff like this and who isn't, I'm not even thinking about Meghan. I'm thinking about Diana. I'm thinking about Harry. People who were very close to the institution and complained about it for reasons that are a little easier to unpack than the racism, the xenophobia, all of that. You know, Diana speaking out about her treatment in the press and Harry talking about his treatment in the press, like that gets slapped down and derided. And, you know, we accept it a little bit more now, but it's still kind of a hot take to say the British royals are like in a gilded cage, that they have a really raw deal. Some people go as far to call it a human rights abuse, like raising children in the royal family to this life and not giving them a choice because of this exact thing.
Yeah, I will say I do have that question about like the people born into it and how fair is that when you don't have a choice. You know, you were born into this. You didn't marry into it. You were born into it. But also, this kind of framing takes all agency off the British royal family and reinforces that idea that they are just a powerless, you know, hunted
the
animal.
Underdog.
Yeah, which is like, you know, but also what's not surprising is that I haven't seen any pushback to this. I haven't seen anyone writing about how could Sophie or whatever say this? Like, how could she, you know, this is not never complain, never explain behavior. You know, it's nothing. It's been silent. And again, any other royal, this is getting some serious attention.
It is. And I think, I don't know, because like, I think we can acknowledge sitting where we're sitting, having conversations that we're having, that, yeah, people do write lies about the royals, but seeing the royal family as an institution never really push back on that unless it's something trivial like hair extensions or
baby
like something insulting, something viewed as being insulting rather than I don't know, a lie that actually kind of reinforces what we want to get out there. Just saying. I don't know. Her being able to go on record and say this, I don't really have a point other than it gives me a lot of food for thought.
I think so as well. And it's quite telling that she can go out and say this.
And have a successful acting career. She's in a lot of stuff. Like,
I know. And that's
Yeah.
an actress is not a problem. So interesting.
interesting.
Interesting. Moving on to Princess Eugenie. If you think that Princess Beatrice was the only one out and about, we got the other sister. Okay.
Surprise, surprise.
The other York girl. So
I like
recently,
that.
No, you like
I
that?
saw
You see what I did there?
Yeah.
So Princess Eugenie, the youngest daughter of Andrew Mountbatten Windsor and Sarah Ferguson, was at her first royal event last week since her father's royal titles were removed and he was evicted from Royal Lodge.
I'm so glad we didn't actually place bets on this because we would be 0 for 2 on our
We
predictions.
really would. So she attended the King's Foundation's 35 Under 35 network event. She
Mhm.
became an official mentor in May of 2025. She also gave the introductory speech on this. And I know we're going to talk about other businessy things later, but it is rich to have a princess describe the importance of mentorship, and that's all it takes
The
to
Nepo baby to end all Nepo
rise in
babies.
life. You just got to get that that unpaid internship and find a mentor, and that's it. But sure.
I mean, okay, to play devil's advocate, the King's
Okay.
Foundation is Charles' charity to support craftsmanship and the arts. And Eugenie is the one that has a career in the art world. So
It's a good.
maybe, yeah, it is a good pick. I agree. But maybe geared through, or maybe viewed through that lens, it becomes a little less like rich to have a princess talk about mentorship, because you would still need to get educated and you would still need people advocating for what the King's Foundation is advocating for, preserving tradition in craftsmanship, especially in the UK. And I think sustainability is part of it, extending education across different walks of life. So that's my just like little devil's advocate point here for the mentorship
Devil
angle.
does not need advocating, but I
Sorry.
do understand what you're saying. Hopefully, it does connect people with those. Opens those doors. I've just been doing way too much research into Pitch at Palace, which was
Yes,
former
I wanted
Prince
to talk about
Andrew's
this.
venture.
Shut it down.
I'm working on a Substack about it, and
I was surprised it was still active.
I know I've just seen how these networking events can work among people, but hopefully
Yeah,
this is
fair.
better. I am not saying it's the same. I think though what's really the story here is that King Charles is signaling that he does not consider his nieces to be in any way responsible for the sins of their parents. And I can agree to an extent.
Yeah.
I also think it would
Yeah.
take more digging that King Charles would not want to have done. So here is what I think probably happened. This is my take. Andrew and Sarah realize that they are done. They have just overstayed their welcome.
Her publishing deal just got canceled. Like
The children's book one. Although I've heard that there is already a memoir in the works, allegedly, although they're saying that publishers are after her for it. I've heard like it might already be started, but that again, allegedly, rumors.
Yeah, 100%. Like, this is King Charles saying, you guys are fine, basically. Like, this isn't a reflection on you, and we can compartmentalize to a degree.
I also think that there was probably some understanding between King Charles and his disgraced brother that if he does what he needs to do and goes quietly and doesn't make a big fuss, and maybe we don't write about things that we don't want out there, that, obviously the princesses are going to be supported and loved, and they're going to get their charitable endeavors and engagements, and you'll start seeing that immediately. Andrew and Sarah would want that because that allows the York name, right? They're in the royal fold still. That's their foothold.
By extension, could we maybe extrapolate, and this is just guesswork, Beatrice and Eugenie's titles were kind of guaranteed to be safe.
That's what I'm thinking.
If that is the thought, then that would also explain why there was so much outrage at the suggestion that William threatened Beatrice and Eugenie's titles. Boom, we just connected all the dots.
We did it, guys. We're done here for
Solved
the day.
it. Solved
I
it.
also think that for King Charles, this really plays well with this idea that he is going to be the multi-faith king. And part of that is redemption, is grace, is all of those things. And also, this kind of hopefully makes you forget that he totally abandoned his son and daughter in law and his young grandson when they went overseas and used financial pressure to try to force them back. And I think this is a way of saying, but look, like he is the leader of the Church of England. He extends grace. This is a caring Charles. This is a benevolent leader. I think there's a lot of that. I also think that Charles really wants to keep this, and Buckingham Palace, the whole institution, wants to keep this as a bad apple situation. It's just a
Mm.
bad apple. There's nothing wrong with the little seedlings. It's just one bad apple. And you can really do that when you're just talking about alleged crimes, allegations involving Jeffrey Epstein. But if you start looking into business dealings, it could get a little dicier because there are questions about how much the girls have made connections through their father to foreign powers known for corruption and human rights abuses. Just spitballing. Pretty, yeah,
Fascinating. It's so interesting to see this stuff keep spinning.
yeah.
So just to keep up with, this is a very princess heavy episode and like women heavy episode.
It's
which
for the
I'm like-
ladies.
So I want to check in with our favorite nature princess, or should I say business princess, because Catherine, Princess of Wales, who recently received an apology from the BBC for them referring to her as Kate.
BBC's having a lot of issues.
They're having a rough week. Go over to my Substack if you would like more information on that, mattaoffact.substack.com. But Kate has been busy. She pressed post on one of her nature videos, or her staff did. This one was about embracing change for autumn, calling this the season of reflection. Trees shed their canopies in preparation for winter, just as we too learn to let go of what is no longer needed. And in that spirit, Kate shed her nature princess image today as we are recording Tuesday. And she was in London for a meeting of the business task force.
Shut up. Is this an offshoot of Space Task Force or whatever it is?
Space Force.
There we go. Whatever.
Business Task Force. Yes, this is part of the Royal Foundation's Center for... No, I'm sorry. Let me read the whole title.
Please.
The Royal Foundation Business Task Force for Early Childhood, which was hosting the Future Workforce Summit in London this week. And this is not the first time this kind of angle has been tested. They're doubling down now at the Royal Foundation. Basically, this is an event that says if you prioritize early childhood, don't do it just because of it being the right thing to do, capitalists. Do it because it will make for better workers in the future. If you invest in your workforce when they are babies, that'll serve you in the long run. Like, I shit you not, that is the angle. And I guess whatever works, right? Like, whatever gets us
I mean,
there.
if it gets, universal pre-K or whatever, or, rights for women who have babies and stuff, but okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. The Business Task Force has been set up since March 2023 to, quote, galvanize, with an S, business action for early childhood. It includes Aviva, Deloitte. Don't know what they do. I've worked with Deloitte a couple times. They're like consultants. That's their whole thing. Iceland's Foods, IKEA, UK and Ireland, the Lego Group, and NatWest and Unilever.
Kids really need to learn how to put together furniture quicker. They need that Billy bookcase, and they need to do it in under 5 minutes.
So one of the pieces of analysis I love, which comes from Hello, they write, to date, the work their organizations have delivered as part of the task force has reached more than 500,000 babies. How do you measure whether the
Have
demographic
they interviewed the babies?
of babies has been reached? I don't understand. They illuminate the amount could be achieved by equipping youngsters with social and emotional skills, supporting parents wanting to return to work, and reducing the need to spend public funds on those who experienced difficult childhoods, which might have been avoided through preventative action in early childhood.
Okay, wait a second. You're saying that you want public funds used for, like, what are you
mitigating?
You know what?
Mitigating the need to correct later.
Okay, I got news for you. You might still need to correct some things. You're still going to need social safety nets. I just want them to interview a toddler who's like chewing on a Lego and is like, this shit did not work for me.
I want to see the toddler repeating Kate's talking points. So she gave a speech. It was her first speech in 2 years for this event. She said, "My passion and the work of the Center for Early Childhood stems from one essential truth, that the love we feel in our earliest years fundamentally shapes who we become and how we thrive as adults. Love is the first and most essential bond, but it is also the invisible thread woven with time, attention, and tenderness through consistent, nurturing relationships, which creates the grounded and meaningful environments around a child. It is this texture, the weave of love, which forms a child's emotional world and becomes the foundation, the very fabric of resilience and belonging. Remember, she's talking to business leaders.
Okay.
Just want to say that.
Interesting tone.
She says, as business leaders, you will face the daily challenge of finding the balance between profitability and having a positive impact, but the two are not and should not be incompatible. And so that's
And
kind
I'm
of the
sure
crux.
business leaders are sitting there like, yes,
Absolutely.
we are going
girl.
to take this information with no data, no babies on stage telling us what they think, and we will run with it. I mean, it's that
It's
kind.
optimistic.
And I know I use this a lot, but it's still worth saying. If Meghan had said
Mm.
any of this stuff, it would
Mm.
be labeled as cuckoo psychotherapy babble,
Yeah.
California hippie kombucha
What is she
shots,
even
yada
saying?
yada.
Yeah.
Thread of love. I mean, it would be absolutely obliterated. This seems like a weird audience for the particular
Well,
way the speech was crafted, but maybe if you're just supposed to be kind of the lighter part.
I think what it's doing is taking the findings, quote unquote, that the early childhood has come up with. We have to invest in the children's futures at the source in year zero. That's how we do it. This is like them applying their philosophy and seeing if it works, I guess, in the real world.
No concrete ways. Here are the 3 things that you could do right now.
Yeah, it's
It's all
exploratory for sure.
Very, very kind of high-minded conceptual things. It's not like, hey, actually, you this, and this, and some topics that maybe might feel too political if we got into, you know?
And
And-
it's not even like, here is the program we're investing in that your workplace can implement, like a Duke of Edinburgh award. Here is a program that students can get involved in to get them into nature. They earn these badges. It helps them on their college applications, et cetera, et cetera. It's just kind of, let's have a roundtable and see what we can come up with and pat ourselves on the back at the end of the day.
I feel like, yeah, it's one of those things where you can take a picture, show that you're at this event, get some goodwill, you know, kind of like companies that were like, we're going to have DEI, you know, advisors and whatever, and then nothing's implemented and they're all fired. You know, it feels like kind of that. It's very surface level, not really with the intention to follow through.
I did see that there was a quote from Warren Buffett posted on the projector screen at the event, so we're hitting all the angles.
Okay, well, great.
Thank you, Business Princess.
Business princess.
All right, Meredith, I hear you've done a candle deep dive. Can you let us into your world?
God, I was trying to think of a candle pun. I'm failing today.
Have you been
I'm
burning the candle on both ends?
Witless and wickless. Well, apparently I'm not, because these candles don't have wicks, except you're going to see here first. They do.
Ooh, okay.
They do.
Backing
Mine
up,
is burning right now.
I heard somebody say there have been several people that received candles without wicks. I think it was just one person who claimed.
I have yet to see that. So when I first heard about this story and then saw the article, I said, oh, dear God. So this was from the Daily Mail. American influencer claims Meghan Markle's $64 candle was sold without a wick in scathing review. But fans suggest it was tampered with, which, wow. I mean, to get a kind of both sidesism with the headline from the Daily Mail.
Surprising, yeah.
You must be a child of Satan.
Even they must have
kidding.
Seen, like, this was disingenuous as hell, but, like, I guess.
And
put
then
a lot of effort in.
We saw who the influencer / conservative commentator / former advisor to RFK Jr.'s presidential campaign was. Amanda, take it away.
So, yeah, the influencer happens to be one Link Lauren, who you may know as MAGA Malfoy.
You've seen him. I promise you have seen him.
People used to recommend his videos to me because, like, oh, he tells the truth about Meghan. He tried to do the royal commentary thing for a while. Then he pivoted over to conservative politics. He is 26, so I don't know, maybe the brain is still forming. Like,
he's
maybe
26?
Yes. And the Daily Mail notes he has nearly 1 million followers. So at least we can rest assured that combined, you and I have more than him.
Yes, mostly because of you, but that does make me feel better.
But between us, yeah. Yes, he was senior advisor to RFK Jr. during his presidential campaign, and he's the person, he got invited to the influencer briefing at the White House, and he took that as an opportunity to fawn over Caroline Leavitt. He said, "You're a very high-profile young mother who seems to juggle and balance it all beautifully. What advice do you have to young parents out there who are starting their careers, having kids, building families, and trying to find that balance so desperately?"
She's
I
like,
would
well,
also like
Princess
to note
Kate says, sorry,
Caroline Levitt is also, I believe, 26, which every time I see her, girl. Oh, she's 28.
guys,
Excuse me.
the blonde over the hill. Just kidding. The blonde, going that blonde,
It's not
it
good.
can age you. It can age you. Also, your hair is going to fall out.
The fumes maybe are what? Never mind. From the peroxide. Never mind.
Yeah. You have seen this photo of this man sitting in the front row because many people were like, why is Draco Malfoy here? Which I'm going to say is rude to Draco Malfoy.
Mm.
But yes, on his show, Spot On with Link Lauren, he shows an unboxing, allegedly, of him opening the candle for the first time and then saying, oh my God, it doesn't have a wick. Like, you've got to be kidding me. And then he has his producer. It's like, Lexi, zoom in. Has it zoom in, which it's not focused, because
No.
it's a white candle. So it's like, it's
And you have your
trying
ring
to
light.
it's
like,
trying to white
blaring.
balance and it's having an
Yeah.
issue. Also, the wick is the same color as the candle because guess what? The candle wick is cotton. Yes, I looked this up. I also spoke with
You
a candle
interviewed
maker.
someone.
I sure did. A candle maker that I very much enjoy and said, hey, I got a weird question for you. What are the chances that this was delivered without a wick? What are the chances? And they replied that while they believe that some people might pour wax first and then put in a wick, they don't do that. And most tutorials that you see don't do that because the wick allows you to measure how far to pour the wax. So it's very common to do a little bit of wax at the bottom or something to put the wick in, and then you'll see like something across it to stabilize the wick and then pour in the wax and it solidifies around the wick. And what they said as well, and this is why the cotton wick is important, is that with a cotton wick, you could, I know, because this bothered me so much. So you can cut down the wick pretty easily and it could just look like, if you show the candle, you can't even tell. You can also lightly blow dry the top of the candle and
Or just get like a wax warmer lamp over it for 20 minutes.
move it around and make it just a little bit. And it can totally cover it up.
When you do look at it, some people were like, there's clearly a hole in the middle. I don't see a hole, but I do see like a divot in the middle, like as if there was a wick there and we filled in over it and tried to distribute the wax. That's kind of what I thought.
I'm not saying that the esteemed Link Lauren is lying. What I am saying is that you don't buy hundreds of dollars in as ever products to review on your show unless you want a viral moment. And at this point, saying that the jam spread is runny is not doing the job. You better up the ante. And guess what? This was picked up. Everyone's talking about it. It was in the Daily Mails. I would say money well spent. And what are the chances that the one person that we know of so far that has claimed that their candle came wickless just happens to be someone that started their career bashing Meghan?
On her. Yeah, what are the odds?
And listen, we've been critical of aspects of As Ever, especially the packaging.
Yeah,
Not the products, but the packaging.
If you missed it, the shipping material, the mailing material has not protected all of the orders I've gotten from this holiday launch. I got one personal, we got one for the giveaway, and then we got a replacement for the giveaway order because the first box came so damaged. We were like, this was clearly marketed to give as a gift, and we can't do that. So what are we going to do here? As Ever customer service. And they were very nice. They replaced it. The replacement box, the box itself wasn't damaged, but the inside of the packaging was all like scunched because it had shifted during transit. And it's all well and good to say, well, it was mishandled by UPS. That's not Meghan's fault or As Ever's fault. But if you're not planning for at this point, you should just assume that carriers are going to throw these boxes with
We still have some
abandon.
work to do in terms of the packaging and what we're using. And obviously she's under even more scrutiny for every little thing she uses, which I think also adds to the problem.
Did you
we
see,
got to figure it out.
Did you see, though, they did an in-store like experience at Godmother's, the bookstore in Montecito? It's gorgeous. I would love to just go touch everything.
Oh my God, that sounds amazing.
You want to take a road
long
trip?
way. Kind of. This is a way of saying that while there have been issues with and selling out of stuff, the customer service has been great. So I wonder, though, if Link Lauren reaches out and says, my candle came without a wick, my bet is that they just go ahead and replace it
They
because it's
would.
not worth fighting over.
100% they
It's
would.
not worth giving him more material to work with. And he will call that a victory and say, see, it's proof they know that they messed up because they're sending me a new one. Not that this is good customer service. And it kind of takes the air out of, that hot air balloon.
Well, also, it would be really funny if he did want a replacement, because then you're just admitting you bought it because you wanted it, like, not just to review at that point.
Yeah, let's be honest. Like you didn't buy these because you really wanted to do a thoughtful review of Meghan's products. You wanted to have what you knew was going to be a big moment, get you some views, hopefully have a viral moment. And I'm just saying what a stroke of luck to get the wickless candle. It's like the golden
Luckiest
ticket.
guy on planet Earth, yeah.
Seriously.
Blake
So,
Lauren, God's chosen child, Meghan Malfoy.
and speaking of people that are just absolutely out of their minds when it comes to Meghan, people that have lost their minds over Meghan's holiday products. One, Tom Sykes, who I will say occasionally has a good take, an interesting take, and sometimes, goes no holds bar on really every royal. He now has a Substack, and unfortunately, we are seeing in real time what having a subscriber model does to you, especially when you are looking to grow and ramp up really fast. You're going to throw anything at the wall that might get people. So the idea that he does not understand how marketing works and therefore wrote a Substack about today, Meghan decided to drop a fake ass video. Ooh, we're cursing now. A fake ass video of her hanging Christmas stockings. Do we really believe her? Yeah, Tom, we do.
It's marketing.
Can I introduce you to late stage capitalism? It's occurring all over the world. Halloween stuff is barely off the shelves, and we have Christmas stuff in. November 16th or 15th for hanging stockings as a brand that sells holiday gift
Especially,
sets.
I'm sorry, coming from a British reporter who they don't have Thanksgiving in between. Why is this outlandish? Why, I'm sorry, unrealistic expectations of Meghan as both a businesswoman and a person, I think, from Tom Sykes here. And further into the newsletter, I wanted specifically to know, was the outrage just reserved for, the teaser, the above the paywall section? No, he really does believe this. He says later, further down, here she is gaily pretending she is decorating her home for Christmas on November 16th. That would be fine if Meghan had not spent months insisting that As Ever is a glimpse of her real life distilled into jam jars, berry bushes, handwritten labels, and kitchen rituals. He calls this an authenticity crisis. Is it? Is it, Tom? He goes on to say, the problem is that she says she's a slow-living mom making jam, and now she posts a Christmas video weeks early, insisting it's her normality. She didn't do that.
You inferred a lot from a video. And
Sir,
by the way, it's a 3-second video.
It's not even, she's not talking, she's not looking at the camera. It's just B-roll.
Literally, it's all of it. And guess what?
Talk about writing fan fiction.
And I also wonder, is this, I don't know, maybe promo for the fact that her show on Netflix has a holiday special the first week of December? Sir, do not act like you do not understand how marketing works. When you are using marketing, tools and theories for your own Substack. So the idea that you don't know how this works and that this somehow adds to the is Meghan really authentic argument? No, it has no bearing on that. But it does have bearing on how authentic are your opinions, or are they just clickbait to get suckers like us to pay $7 for 1 month of Prime paid Substack?
Yeah. Shame on us, I guess. And there are people who eat this up because they love to dunk on Meghan. But I will say, yes, Tom Sykes has a Meghan problem. He is a contrarian, and that's kind of how he peddles himself, right? And this story reminded me of earlier this year, going back to Nature Princess, with Kate's spring video. Tom actually on the Daily Beast got a piece published called "Why is Kate Middleton's Apologize to Her? Why is Kate Middleton's nature video so damn annoying?"
He hates videos.
He hates videos. He hates women having opinions and positions on things.
Nature,
jam, Christmas. Tom Sykes hates Christmas.
He's a real Grinch. I'm just kidding.
That's
he probably
conclusion.
loved that though, because that's kind of his brand.
Yeah, he's just a contrarian. That is his angle. And it's funny to see he'll call anybody a hypocrite. He says that the video that she posted in the spring was an inevitable undercurrent in so much of what the royals do, owing to their determination to represent themselves as a normal family, with a side serving of patronizing language that could make the most committed royalists' toes curl.
Ooh.
And in this article from May, he also suddenly is okay with the fact that Harry claims Kate wouldn't lend Meghan lip gloss because that just goes to build her up as somebody who's disingenuous now that she wants to be all, I love nature and love. And there's no moral backbone. There is no rigorous standard of commentary here. You don't have positions. You have things you need to sell to us. And in this case, it's your Substack.
And you're thinking, okay, Meghan has a video out. That's going to do well. What can I do to get clicks? It's not Meghan posted a video. It's this fake ass video. And can you believe she did it in November? It's yeah, I can. I will say he is an equal opportunity hater. And for that, I do appreciate it. Every once in a while, you get some good nuggets, but
it's so selective based on which way the wind is blowing, because you could also complain about Kensington Palace teasing Kate's carol service, which again happens before Christmas. So yes, we are marketing it before the end of November.
I'm also sure, I think someone said that the Buckingham Palace gift shop or something, or Highgrove was also marketing holiday gifts, because guess what? Now's the time when people are thinking about that. Because people tend to buy things before December 25th if you're celebrating Christmas. It is so wild to take this position. Can you believe this woman? Actually, I'm surprised that we didn't get a stocking video 2 weeks ago. But if she had done that, the outrage would have been even bigger. Or she would have done a decorating video December 16th, and it wouldn't have been, look how relatable Meghan is, just last minute getting things up. Or it would have been, Meghan filmed that weeks ago. She's just trying to be relatable. Girl.
There it is. They cannot win, and we will keep saying this. That's a long
episode. It was a jam-packed episode. Get it?
Jam-packed. Just like my stomach, because I had it for breakfast this morning.
Ooh, delightful.
It was really good. I haven't tried the strawberry one yet, but I'm excited
the strawberry one is effing amazing. I've had it on a piece of sourdough toasted with a little bit of Kerrygold butter. And it is a delightful little treat. So I definitely recommend that. And hey, if you want to get some jam, we have a giveaway.
Enter our giveaway. Yeah.
Don't forget.
I will put some information on that in the caption for you as well. And speaking of delightful little treats, we do have to shout out our Patreon press secretaries today for their undying love and support, for just always following us around. Even if we leave you in the fixed point, you just take your job so seriously that you will be
never let
on
us
the case.
Get caught using the restroom, because we have exceptional bladders and people just think we don't have to go.
Mm-hmm. But they do sometimes bump the press boat into our boat, though. But it's usually when we're about to say something stupid a little too loud.
Spatial recognition has never been my strong suit. It's okay.
And those Patreon press secretaries are Molly, Nikki, Lulu, and Jessica. And of course, a big thank you to our crown jewel, the baby's breath of Meredith's heart, Sir Christopher.
Now that's a baby I would grab.
We are on fire today, connecting all the dots.
Come back for more delicious morsels of goodness on Friday when we have our Friday news dump.
I'm excited. I really love those Friday episodes. I love just sitting down to chat with you, Meredith, and I love the fabric of love, or whatever Kate is trying to weave into business.
I love. All right, and we love you. So we will see you on Friday.
Thanks for listening. Bye.
Bye.